bfm 89.9, good morning, I'm Nadia Hassan. Welcome to your morning headlines. Thankfully, this time it is actually headlines and not just one story recycled, re-angled and given new life or whatever. But not saying that it's out of the headlines quite yet. There is still a lot of traction on the MB Selangor issue and a lot of the newspapers still pick it up, but they're giving space to other things. It's not so much full-page splashes anymore. NST goes with Pas Wedge in Pakatan. This is continuing on from what happened in the headlines yesterday where they talked about how PKR and DAP, not that they disrespected Sultan, but they went against him. They defied him because he wanted more than one name and they just gave one name. So now they're saying that Pas also has issue with it. So they're bringing that up, especially for the mainstream media. They're bringing that up quite a bit. So Pas Wedge in Pakatan is how NST puts it. Sultan September 3 deadline, which is a star, which is a little bit more neutral, but definitely he wants more names and there's a deadline coming up for next week. So we'll see how this eventually pans out. PKR Bohong is actually the headline of Berita Harian, a very strong headline. It's out and out accusing them, right? Basically talking about Khalid Nafi beliau calon tunggal di Kemuka, and they're saying that there was more than one name or something else came up or one of the names was fake. So they are definitely going to town on that. Jangan Inkar Sultan was Sina's cry. It's saying that please don't anger him or defy him. Inkar is our word of the day, by the way, just so you know. And they actually point out that PKR's move to just send Wan Aziza's name could be seen as almost like, as almost defying him. It's not an insult, but basically they are drawing those parallels. Pas tidak ikut PKR DAP, that one is driving home Pas's position as the fact that it's not completely on board with the party line. There is still some defiance within. Najib condemns IS is how a Malay Mail puts it. This is of course the ISIS issue which is continually brewing. You see it not just on us. We are doing the Malaysian angle on it. It talks about how Malaysian women are actually more going to support because their husbands are there, and Najib of course coming out saying this is very, very dangerous. But if you go to any kind of mainstream media, CNN is very, very big now. If you go into the website talking about how jihadi Americans are going, there was this big headline about one particular American jihadi who died for the cause, and as you see, every single country that has a stake in this pulls up their own local connection to it. Going on a bit more businessy, headline, ignore the picture of the fried chicken unless you really want fried chicken. Sun talks about Uber Sapu. No, it's not wiping Uber. They're talking about Kereta Sapu, which is what they're liking Uber to. So SPAD has come out and said that Uber is basically illegal. Let's not forget, Uber is not your traditional taxi service. They are built on being different. So they give private cars, private limousines. The most famous thing I always remember is on Cat Appreciation Day. When you ordered an Uber cab, you actually got kittens, which you could adopt if you wanted to, just to raise awareness. They are what they call a disruptive business model. They are not traditional. They're a bit like Airbnb. And the problem with a lot of regulators is how do you make money off them? Let's be really honest. Yes, you want to protect people's rights. Agreed. But a lot of them are also wondering, how do I make money off this? New York has an issue with Airbnb saying it circumvents some laws. This one also is saying about the same thing. But you wonder, right, if they can actually make money off Uber the same way they make off cabs, whether this issue will go away. So keep a headline on that. Musk continues to be in the issue, talking about executive chairmen in airlines restructuring plans. Khazanah is supposed to come up with the restructuring plan this Friday. Already, the reports in the Edge Financial Daily talk about at least 30% staff cuts. Julian, my colleague, will argue that, there's much deeper problems. There's a lot of other stuff. But I think for the meantime, you just need to deal with the problems that you see fit. And finally, last two bit more sillier pieces of news. I would actually say one of them is not silly, but this one is talking about how model Sparrow Bogey did dinner. They were fined $400 because apparently he was wandering around in his Speedos and she was wandering around in her bra and pants. Half naked, and it was offensive. But to be fair, right, if you go to a beach, they wear bikinis which cover that much anyway. She wasn't actually, she sat there with all her rocks out, you know what I mean? Technically, they weren't really doing anything illegal because she really wasn't naked, but, people being sensitive. Some of my colleagues would actually like the fact that there was a half-naked woman running around, but hey, that's my colleagues. Finally, to finish it off, we have Metro with a big yellow headline going kurang ajar. It's an app, basically a very bad app in bad taste, talking about an MH17 game app where you can actually shoot down the plane and then collect the passport as points. Ridiculously bad taste. I mean, it's just a bad idea anyway, and people are mourning it. It's very, very sad. But it also gives a bad name to gamers as well. I mean, there's a really good game called Passports Please, where you become an immigration agent, which is actually a lot of people have lauded it as quite fun. Charade will have an issue with like violence and sexual themes. But you know what? There are millions of gamers, and how many of them have actually really, really, really turned violent? There's nothing wrong with a little God of War, people. Seriously, go check it out. And that's it from me. I'm Nadia Hassan, and this has been your morning headlines with a dose of game knowledge on BFM 89.9.